Hello. So in this video, we're going to look at the Qwyk Solutions onboarding portal for Business Central. So the onboarding portal is a partner management tool that will allow a partner to migrate multiple clients and give the clients the ability to onboard themselves from existing finance systems to Business Central. So we're going to step through this video in two parts. So the first part will be the partner portal itself, so how you would register as a partner and how you can manage your client relationships moving forward. And then we'll look at how the client onboarding process works. So I'm going to start by registering as a partner. So we go to dev.partner.qwyksolutions. So we sign in with our Microsoft account. Okay, so once I've put the verification code in, it prompts me up to register as a partner. So I put my company name in, Cronus UK Limited. I put my name, that's just short on the default, and I submit the registration. So at this point, the registration is submitted to Qwyk. And the registration comes through and it gets approved. Okay, so then we should have received an email into our demo inbox, which says that the partner portal access has been approved, so we can use the sign-in link. And we come into the partner portal. So the partner portal itself has a number of elements. So we've got our front dashboard. So you can see we've got a customers section, support section, transfers, feature requests, and roadmap. So I'll just talk through one by one. So with customers, we have a list of our customers. We have a status of the customer that's there. We can see the number of migrations and the support tickets that they've got open. I can add a new customer. If you want the customers to register themselves, you can just copy the link. When they register, it will register against your partner code. You can decide who runs the onboarding. So your options are you run it, the client runs it, or Qwyk runs it. So you run it on the client's behalf, the client runs it themselves, or Qwyk will run it for you. If we select the client runs it, I'm going to put the company name in, so Demo Company UK. And the contact name, James Smith, and going to use admin at qwykdemo.microsoft.com, and I'm going to copy the onboarding user email. So if you are using onboarding on behalf of the customer, you would put your own details in on behalf of the customer, and assuming you've got partner access to Azure, you should be able to do the onboarding for them as well. We put in the Microsoft tenant ID of the client, which is mandatory, so you'll need to take that from the Azure portal, and select the country localization. You also can select the number of countries that the client will onboard, so this will limit them in the portal of how many onboardings they can do. And then we click Create Customer. So you'll notice we've got a customer pending registration here, and that will come through again to be approved in the Qwyk system. So also in the partner portal, we have a support function. So we can see our support tickets for all of our clients. You have the option to escalate them to Qwyk. So if there's an issue with the portal or the onboardings, then Qwyk can support. We have transfer requests. So if you are bringing on board a customer that's already a member of another partner, you can request the transfer from the partner. You will also see requests where other partners are transferring clients over. We also have feature requests. So if your clients or you as a partner want to see more features in the portal or within the Business Central Qwyk app, you can add them in here. They can be upvoted, and you can view the status of them. And once they've been accepted, they will appear on the roadmap along with other features and functions that we're going to be put in, so you can help keep your clients update on what's going on. So they're separated out: Partner Portal, Client Portal, and Business Central. You also have settings where you can update your company information. You have your partner code and your partner link if you want to share with your clients. And we also offer the ability to white label the client portal as well, which will give you the ability to brand the client portal yourself. So the client then would log in. So typically, if the client comes to the client portal, if they're not registered, they'll have a similar registration screen to the partner portal. And again, they can sign in with their Microsoft account. So we sign in, and they get a similar looking portal. So you have multiple options on here, so we'll go through some of them in more detail later. The one we're interested in for now is the Agentic Onboarding. So the Agentic Onboarding will allow the client to onboard from their existing finance system into Business Central. So if we click the onboarding, so the first thing it does is we need to grant the portal access to their Business Central tenant to allow them to allow it to communicate and push and pull the data. So they have this option here. If they're an IT administrator, they can click there to grant access, which we'll do in a minute. And if they're not, they can send an email to the IT administrator to approve it on their behalf. So if we click it, they can see information about what permissions they're granting, and we can approve. They put in their administrator credentials, and it will give them the Microsoft approval. So this is just to deploy the Entra app to allow them to allow the portal to communicate with Business Central. Consent is granted. We click continue, and we can move forward to the start the onboarding. So you'll notice we have two options here. We have the sandbox migration, we have production migration. So typically you would start a sandbox migration, run it through, the client would test it, and then they will come back and do a production migration, either taking the data they've migrated from the sandbox into production, or starting a new migration, re-pulling the data and re-cleansing it. We start the sandbox migration. We put the company name in for the company we're going to onboard. Again, we select the localization. So these are the countries that we currently support. We'll be rolling more out over the course of the year. So we click start, and this will take us through to the template and system selection. So we have three templates: finance only, finance plus inventory, finance plus inventory, retail and e-commerce, which includes the Shopify integration. So you would select the template that was most appropriate. I'm going to use the finance and inventory one. And then we have the systems that are supported currently. So QuickBooks, Sage, Sage Line 50, Xero. We also have some more due to be released in the future. We can filter the systems by API import and by CSV import. The generic Excel will allow you to download a template. So if the data is coming in from a system that isn't supported, it can come in that way. For this example, I'm going to select Xero for the import. And what the system will do now is it will go off and provision the sandbox, create the company, install the Qwyk app, initialize the company, so put the base data in, verify that the user's got Business Central license, and load the template data into their environment. It says this typically takes around 22 minutes. The sandbox is already provisioned just to save time. So typically that would take around 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the environment. Whilst it's doing that, there's some elements on here. You can see along the top, we've got the steps that you would take to go through. We can see we're in a sandbox deployment. We can see our user. At any point in the process, if the user or the partner gets stuck, they can click the Rescue Me button. It will log an urgent support ticket with Qwyk, and Qwyk will contact the client or the partner, depending on who's supporting them. We also have these tips box on each screen. They do pop up automatically on the first run. I've disabled them for the sake of the demo because to save clicking the boxes, but they do explain around the screen how you can do it. So we have the tips, we've got step-by-step help, the Rescue Me, and to go back to portal. So at any point during the process, you can leave the portal and come back and resume the migration later. It will save your place. There's also a read more about what to expect. So it will take you through how the migration works at a high level. Each screen also has a help box, which will show you what you're doing on each screen. So the users can see that. As you can see, it's on to copying the data, and that should be done shortly. Okay, so now the template data is seeded, we can move forward to uploading the data. So because we select 0, this gives us the option to connect to 0. There's also instructions on how to export the relevant information from 0. So I can click sign into 0, and it will ask me for my login details, and I can click continue. So this will install an app in the client 0 environment, same for QuickBooks and Sage, and we get the option to extract the data. When you click extract data, so at every stage of the process, there is an agent review. So the agent review will look at the data. It will suggest the mappings for Business Central. It will look at data quality, and it will make suggestions for fixing. You can run this manually on each screen, or not run it at all, or you can auto run it on each screen. So I'm going to choose to auto run it. So we click auto run, and then we don't have to remember to do that each time it runs. So it's pulled the data out of 0. It's given us some warning. It says that there was a draft journal that's not been carried across, and that no cutover date has been set yet. This is because it's in sandbox mode, so it's come across as today. So I'm going to click next to continue to the next step, and we get company information. I can upload a logo for the company, and if the system that you're pulling the data from does not support company information, this has pulled this across from the demo company in 0. You can actually use the company's house lookup if you've selected GB as the country localization. Check your details, and the key field here is the last year of the financial year. So this sets your financial period in Business Central. And I click next to the next screen. So the first screen that we are going to look at is the chart of accounts. So you've got two options for the chart of accounts. So one of them is to map to the template chart of accounts. The other one is to use the existing chart of accounts. So map to template chart of accounts will map your 0 chart of accounts, or whichever finance system you're using, to the Business Central template accounts. And in this case, we're going to use the existing chart of accounts. We're actually going to migrate the 0 chart of accounts into Business Central. So when you select this, what it will do is it will apply the mapping, which it will do and suggest the mapping if you select the other option as well. While we do that, I'm just going to expand the, the agent review has kicked in because the accounts have been applied. So for the chart of accounts, we can expect it to suggest account types, account categories, subcategories, and the subledger mapping for the accounts. The AI is doing quite a lot of work here or that the agent is doing quite a lot of work here to process all of the information that are in the accounts. The estimated time is based on an average of all of the runs we've done and how many records that you have. So typically, this is there. It does cache the data as you go along. So the more onboardings we have, the quicker this should get, because it will use the cache data to make the suggestions rather than the agent. Okay, so now that's done, it's suggested 90 categories, so we can review those one by one. We can accept them, or we can apply all 90, which is what I'm going to do. So this will map the categories, the subledger accounts, and then we're left with data quality suggestions, so I can review these. So because we have picked the inventory profile, there's no inventory adjustment account, which the Business Central needs as an account, so it suggests we create it. The agent has already picked a place in the chart for the inventory adjustment account and the category and subcategory, so you can create that account and it will add it in. The other suggestions, it's saying these accounts are zero balance, so consider whether this account is still needed. You can either delete those in the chart, or you can, I'm just going to expand that out. You can delete those in the chart, or you can just leave them in there depending on your want. So you would typically check the chart of accounts, make sure that everything is as you would expect it to be, and we move on to the bank accounts. With the bank accounts, the agent review has told us that the bank account has no sort code, it has no account number, which it doesn't in the demo data. So I can edit that information, I can key the information in, select the currency, and click Save Changes, and that will save my bank accounts. And I can click the VAT rates. So the agent will review the VAT rates and it will map them to the Business Central VAT rates. It's already predefined for Xero, which is a standard setup, and Sage and QuickBooks. Any other systems, it will map them using the agent. So we click Next and come through, and then we have dimensions. So if you're using cost centers or departments, you can add those in. So it's pulled the region code out of the demo data, so we're mapping these into Business Central. You can change them if you want to. We also want to add in cost center. We can set the values, so I can say administration and sales, and I can add additional values if I want to, create the dimensions, and click Next, and we move on to fixed assets. Again, the agent's reviewed, it's seen that there's no category on here, so it has suggested we apply the category, which will appear in this column here. So I click Apply All To, it comes in, I've got the acquisition date. With any of the these screens, you'll notice you've got Download Excel and Import Excel, so you can actually export these to Excel. You can edit the data in Excel, so if there's a lot of data, you can do that as well. Payment terms, the payment terms in the demo data, so nothing has payment terms set, so this is where you set the payment days for customers and vendors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select 30 days and apply them to everyone. You can leave them blank. You can set them individually if you need to. I click next, the next screen, and I've got my customer list. Again, runs through customers, and it will check country codes, VAT groups, everything to make sure that everything is configured as it should be. And we've got some more data quality suggestions. So I've got the VAT number contains a space after GB. This postcode doesn't appear to be a valid UK postcode. Email and phone are blank on this record. So you can use this button here. You can go directly to the data and you can correct it. You'll notice there's also the country codes are missing in the demo data anyway, but these are all GB customers. So it has mapped the customer template to domestic. But because this one has a .co extension, it can't figure out what country it's for. So we can select the country for the customer and it will automatically set the Business Central template. We also have the ability to apply source numbers. So if you want to use your existing customer numbers or assign the new range from the Business Central number series, you can do that. You'll notice that in Xero, they don't actually have specific customer numbers. They just have a GUID. So it's not really appropriate to use in Business Central. So we can just assign the Business Central range, which will assign them in here. We also have a number of other fields in here, so I can individually set the information that I need to, currency codes, etc. And as you saw a minute ago, you can drop down, you can set credit limit, VAT registered number, whether they're VAT registered. I click next for vendors. We go through the same process again. Again, the agent is going to tell us that there's some bits missing. There's a country code missing for the this one as well. So I'm going to select that and I'm going to assign the number series. Again, I can expand out and I can see the additional fields and use the drop down. So I click next to come through to items. So I have my items list. The agent is reviewing to see what is an inventory item, what is a non-inventory item. So as with all of the agent suggestions, it's just making suggestions. You can review them afterwards. So this will come through and it will suggest that some of the items that Xero thought were non-inventory items because they had no stock are actually items, and also that the categories are missing. So I apply all 18. It will set my categories for me. It will set the item numbers and it will say whether it thinks they're inventory or non-inventory items. These items in Xero had a inventory quantity, so these are locked as inventory items because the opening balances will be mapped to those. You also can set down multiple units of measure, and you can set the sales, purchase and inventory GL account for these items as well. So if I click next to locations, so Xero doesn't support locations, so we will add a location. We're going to call it main stock location. We can put the address in and we can set that as the default location. So any stock balances that are coming in, we'll use this one. Again, you can override them individually if you have multiple locations. I come through to my stock balances. It's pulled these through from Xero. I can use Excel to add additional stock balances in if I want to, but these shouldn't need to change as long as they're accurate in Business Central. It's important to know that this stock ledger will reconcile against the Xero chart of accounts. So if you are adding additional stock in at this point, the values will be posted to the inventory adjustment account that we added in the first stage. Click next, and we have our fixed assets. So we have our acquisition costs and our net book value, which we can modify at this point. We click next. We have our GL balances. So the agent will check that the trial balance is out to zero, and that the income statement and balance sheet balance correctly. Okay, so we can see that the balance is balancing out by category. So we can see that that's good, and no issues were found with that. We then have our open accounts receivable, so we can see that this sales ledger control account matches back to the GL. And the agent has not found any issues with this one, so we've got our open invoices with the remaining amounts. I click through to the AP. We can see that the agent review has found that there's one entry missing document number, so we can just put a document number in or migration code. This one has duplicate numbers. It's actually the same amount. This one has got the remaining amount, so there's maybe unapplied payment in this one. So I'm just going to amend those document numbers to come through for the opening balances, and then we come through to our open bank balances. So in the case where your system does not have a bank ledger already, so you would key this in, and it would need to reconcile against the GL. We've then finished the data. We come through to the cutover. We can select the cutover date. So this will be the date the transactions are posted at, and we can select what we're going to import. I click next, come to the summary. It does the final checks. We know we have some warnings. There are 0 errors. The warnings mainly were data addresses. These can be resolved in Business Central afterwards. I finally click Submit to Business Central, start import, and it will import to Business Central. So this takes a minute or two just to bring this data in. So all of the opening balances will be posted against customers, vendors, chart of accounts. So when we open Business Central, we'll see the values in there, and Business Central will be ready for the client to use. Okay, so everything's green on the error list. If anything had errored, it will pop up a box to say to log a support ticket, and it can be investigated. But we can look at the completion report. There's an option here to schedule an onboarding call with your partner, so this will pop up. And we can open the Business Central sandbox, and it will come through and open our newly created company. And the first thing we see when we log into Business Central, there are various options for the user to check data, be guided through creating their first sales invoice, various other things connecting the VAT. These come through with tour tips, so we can take a tour. It will say various information to help them through the process, and they can go through. We also can, once we've done initial configs and checks, we can click I'm ready to start using Business Central, and it will take us to the Business Central key role center, where we can now see that our balances have all come through, and we've got various sort of cut charts and things on here we can do. First thing I'm going to do is check my chart of accounts. I can see that my balances have come through. My chart of accounts is as per the 0 chart of accounts. I can look at sales, I can look at customers, and I can see that I've got my balances on my customers. And I can see, if I look at items, I can see that I have inventory values for my items. Again, I can use the take a tour to come through and see as we're going through. So that concludes the Business Central migration. Finally, just to wrap up, there are a few other functions in the system. As I said, production migration is now complete. So when I'm ready to take that live, I can do that. I also can do various other things. So I've got the support portal. So the support portal, I can raise a support ticket. How do I set up a automated customer statements? The fact box at the side will show me suggested knowledge base articles. I want to set up. And with the support tickets, it will come through. The AI will suggest a resolution. So you can see, do this. You actually can open the customer list and the links directly in the Client's Business Central, which will come through. And you can submit as resolved if it's resolved your tickets. It will add it to the knowledge base if they click, was it helpful? And I can submit the ticket and it will submit it through, and that will flag that in the partner portal. So if I come back to the partner portal now, I come to customers and I come to the demo company UK, I can see that I've got the sandbox migration. I can see that they've got the one session open. Okay, so that concludes the presentation, and thank you for watching.